I posted this story in a thread on a Nature Pics subreddit, but was told I should post it somewhere like this. I was camping in the middle of nowhere in Washington, near Mount Rainier. Not an official campground, just way out in the forest where I wouldn't have expected another human for miles. Yet one night, I wake up and hear something, open my tent, and there is a guy sitting by where my fire had been right outside my tent. Nothing particularly noteworthy about the guy, just a fairly regular-looking dude just sitting there a couple feet from my tent. No bag or pack or anything with him, just a guy. He saw me open the tent. His eyes got huge like he had just seen a ghost, and he took off. It shook me up pretty badly, but over the next day I managed to put it out of my mind fairly well after writing it off as just some odd occurrence, and a guy that was probably high or something, and had somehow managed to set up camp coincidentally not far from mine. The 2 days after that, and 10 to 15 miles away in totally random directions that nobody could take the same path on as accident, I was sitting by the fire that night and started hearing noises that I got more and more convinced were a person. I called out to them, and out of the darkness someone was like, "Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?" I said no. I don't even think that's a real place there. They kept talking from just out of my line of vision. I tried to see them with my flashlight, but they yelled, "Aim that way," and kind of spooked and not wanting to piss off a potentially crazy person, I did. After like 15 minutes of me being very freaked out and them talking and asking completely random questions from the darkness, it sounded like the voice had gotten closer, so I shined my light that way again, and it was the same dude who had been outside my tent 2 nights before. He had to have followed me almost 15 miles over 2 days, because there's no way he could have just accidentally wound up in the same spot as vast as that wilderness is. No possible way. As soon as my light hit him, he took off again. I started to chase him, but didn't want to get lost in the wilderness in the dark, so stopped quickly after probably only 100 to 200 feet. This one couldn't be written off, because the only way he could have been in both places is specifically if he was following me. I decided the trip was very over first thing in the morning and hiked back out over 3 days, constantly doubling back, trying to throw anyone following off my trail, and occasionally hiding and waiting to see if he would come by following me. I really can't describe how terrifying it was to feel like I was being hunted through the woods, and to actually have to brainstorm on things I could do to best avoid potentially being murdered. On the first night of hiking out, twice I heard what sounded like a person walking circles outside my tent, but by the time I mustered the courage to look, nobody was there. On the second night I heard what I thought was an animal making noises at first in the distance, but slowly decided sounded more like a human making animal calls. It could have actually been an animal, and I didn't actually see the guy again, but it really sounded like a person making howling noises. I literally almost cried when I finally got back to my car. The relief I felt was cathartic. To this day, that was probably the most terrifying experience I've ever had. I have no idea who the guy was, or what his intentions were, and no way of getting an explanation, but I really can't articulate just what a terrifying few days it was. So here's a story. First, a little background. When I was 16, I worked at a grocery store as a stalker. The store closed at midnight, and we would often work later than that, as it was easier to stock the aisles without all the damn people in the way. It was around Christmas time, and unfortunately, I had to work on Christmas Eve. Stupid, I know. We typically had Christmas down at my grandparents' place in rural East Texas, about an hour and a half away, and since I had to work, I told my parents to go ahead without me, and I'll head their way once I got off work. My grandparents lived in a gated community called Steamboat Shores, and it was lined with mobile homes, which were mostly filled with old people waiting to die. I had gotten my driver's license only about a month and a half ago, and this would be my first somewhat long drive late at night. I felt confident in the drive. I mean, it was only an hour and a half. I had been along those roads many times as a passenger, so whatever. No biggie. My mom told me to call once I had gotten off. They cut us loose around midnight. Hey Mom, they just let us go, so I'll be getting in around 1:30 to 1:45 depending on whether I stop to get something to eat. Alright, honey, I'll wait up for you. See you in a little bit. Love you. Love you too. The first 45 minutes-ish part of the drive is a fairly monotonous affair through a series of small, podunk Texas towns that no one knows the name of. It was a cold, windy night, by Texan standards at least, and as I cruised through the empty streets, the wind howled against my truck while I watched each town's lone stoplight sway back and forth in the wind. These little towns are creepier than I remember at night, I thought. I felt like a lost pack animal looking for its herd while I drove through each town. The last 45 minutes gets increasingly dark and rural. There's really not much out there, minus cows grazing in fields and the occasionally ramshackle house. This was before smartphones were ubiquitous, so I had the directions written down on a piece of paper. Although since I had been along this road many times before, I generally knew the landmarks for where I should turn. When I was roughly 7 to 8 minutes away, I would take a left at a local grocery store called Brookshire's, and then another left about 5 miles at the Lake Fork Bank, and then boom, I would be at the front gate of the community. The tricky thing is that it's very easy to lose track of time along these roads, since everything looks the same, and it was already late, and my mind was wandering. I feel like I should be getting close to that Brookshire's, no? I didn't pass it already, did I? I hadn't been on this road that long. Well, maybe I have. Maybe I'll go another 10 minutes and wait if I see it. If not, I'll drive until the next intersection and see what the crossroads are and call Mom, and ask if I missed it. As I pull out my phone, I notice in the top left part of the screen, 0 bars. Damn it. I guess I'll just pull up to the next house I see and ask them. It's so late though, but I guess it's better than nothing. Mom will be worrying soon too. After what seemed like a half hour, but was probably closer to 10 minutes, I see a poorly maintained house approaching on my left side. I start easing off the gas to pull into the driveway. Ugh, really not the biggest fan of this whole situation right now, but I'm sure it's fine, so whatever. Wait, what? Is that a police car next to the house? Perfect. I'll just ask him. Not really sure why he's just sitting next to this random house, but what does it matter? I swerve back onto the road and pull up next to the police car that's parked about 30 feet from the house. Hi, officer. Yeah, I was curious if I was close to a Brookshire's. I think I'm a little lost, and I was supposed to take a turn at it. Brookshire's? Yeah, it's actually about 7 miles back the other way. It'll be on your right-hand side. You shouldn't miss it. Ah, damn it. Alright, well, thanks for the help, officer. Wait, hold on a second, son. I saw you swerve a little bit before you pulled into here. Have you been drinking tonight? What? No, not at all. I just got off work, and I'm heading to my grandparents for Christmas. Alright, son. Well, these parts are known for young idiots driving around drunker than 3 sheets to the wind, especially around the holidays. So I'd prefer to go ahead and run your driver's license and check your vehicle registration. No, that's fine. I understand that. I get out of my truck, hand him my license, and he quickly types in my license number. Alright, you're good to go. Sorry about that. It's better on my part to be safe rather than sorry. You understand, kid? Yes, sir. Thanks for the help. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas back to you. I pull out of the house's front yard and head back in the direction I came. When I'm maybe 250 to 300 feet away from the house, I look in my rearview mirror and see a pair of headlights pull out of the driveway towards me. It isn't the police car. Maybe they had somewhere to go as well. It's probably nothing, I thought. In less than a minute, the headlights are right behind me. Maybe I'm driving too slow and they want to pass? I drift my truck slightly to the right, but they don't pass. That's weird. Boom. They blast their high beams and flood my truck with light. What the fuck? This is getting super fucking weird. After about 2 minutes of this, they turn their headlights completely off. The vehicle behind me appears to vanish into the night. I'm so fucked. After 3 to 4 minutes of this, they return their headlights back to normal, steadily riding my bumper. What the fuck do I do? I still don't have fucking phone signal. Fuck. Why the fuck is this vehicle following me? I eventually see the bright, neon red Brookshire sign, shining like a goddamn SOS beacon. Alright, once I get closer to the store, I'm going to fishtail around the turn and put the fucking pedal to the fucking floor, all the way to the front gate of my grandparents' place. The second I hit the turn, I fishtail around the turn so fucking hard, cascading the vehicle behind me with rocks as I took off as fast as I could. And yet, they kept up with me the whole fucking time. I can see the next landmark, the bank, coming up. But fuck, they're still right behind me. I turn left, cross the bridge, and there's the gate. I mash on the gate opener button on my truck visor, and it starts opening as I'm about to pull up. All I can think is, pull in, goddammit. Get away from this psycho. Fuck yes. Made it. I watch the gate slowly close behind me as the vehicle pulls up. It was so satisfying hearing the sound of the gate locking. Get fucked, you piece of shit. Now this is where I was truly a fucking idiot. I know for a fact that I would be the first to die if I was in a horror movie. Because I was just too curious. I couldn't help myself. Who the fuck is in that Jeep? Why did they follow me like that? What are they going to do now? Shoot me in the middle of all these mobile homes? In the middle of the street? Doubtful. I toss my truck and park, get out, and walk towards the closed gate. As I do, the window of the Jeep starts rolling down, and I catch a glimpse of pure white hair. What the hell? It's two grandmas in a Jeep, with a shotgun in between them? Hey there, Sonny. We don't mean to scare you. What the fuck is y'all's problem? You could have caused a fucking accident. No, we don't mean to do that. We just thought you might have been a snitch. We want to see who you was. Snitch? Yeah, one of our in-laws just got out of the clink. We thought you might have been after him. So apparently, one of these old lady's relatives had just gotten out of prison. They said this person had gotten a better deal by ratting out some people, but they didn't say what the crime was, nor did I press the conversation. That's why there was a police car next to their house. I asked them why they turned their damn headlights off. Turns out, they had night vision goggles and were trying to see if I was a man or a woman. I mean, seriously, what the fuck? I eventually made it to my grandparents' place, and my mother was still awake. Why are you so late? What took so long? I was being hunted by Grandma's mom, but they couldn't catch me. Needless to say, she was not a fan of the story, and she was particularly upset that I approached the car after I was safe inside the gate. Sorry, Mom. I'm just too damn curious.